Welcome to Yerba Talks.
Welcome to the Aftershow, Max. This is Kat, also known as El Gato. And today we had a debate between Angelos and FlyingSpaghettiAuditor on the topic of evolution. And as we are all too familiar with, a bunch of the dummies came out to play. So I'm excited for the dumbest comment of the day section, which makes its triumphant comeback. All right. Before we do anything, make sure to do the social thing is like, share, subscribe, send this to a friend, send this to your significant other, go to the corner, yes, the corner of your street, and just subscribe to Yerba Talks. And that way we can show the love for the channel. All right. Let me get you the link. And we'll pin it. And we'll be off to the races. 1 second. Boom, 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 boom. All right. I saved some notes while some people get in here. Matthew Hakim and Kevin Bacon looked like they were having a little bit of a war on who would get the dumbest comment of the debate. And Angelo, during the open discussion, also said the thing like, I was a hoodlum and then Jesus. Which, oh my God, I hear that so much all the time. And yeah, it's not evidence. No one cares. Welcome, Still City. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
You are more than welcome. Canadian Space Advocate says hello. We also have Lindsay Bow. We have David, Baboton, and some more people. Daryl Frost says the debate was not good for the God team. Yes. All right. So let's jump in. Angelo's opening just was a gigantic basically made a bunch of claims, said a bunch of things about people claiming stuff, but we didn't get a proper citation. We didn't get a presentation or anything like that. So very underwhelming. Very underwhelming.
Yeah,
Daryl
I'm not sure what else he had planned for the rest because he kind of ran out of time. But he had 13 minutes? I don't see how he didn't get it all done in 13. But he seemed like he was doing like the flat Earth strategy where to prove flat Earth, you talk about the opposition. So he was just talking about evolution the whole time. And I'm like, what is this? Opening straw man arguments? Like what? Talk about creation.
Yep. That's a pretty decent summary. And of course, the monotone and the presentation of the opening was just like, had to fight very hard not to fall asleep during the opening.
I felt like Dick Wayne when he reads.
Yes. Oh my! Look who's back here.
Hey guys.
Hello.
What's up?
How you doing?
Dr.
Good.
J.
Hey, Max, I'm going to Brazil tomorrow. I'm gonna bring my Uruguay stuff.
All right. That's cool. How long?
Hopefully I don't get shot. 2 weeks. I don't know if my Suarez jersey, I don't feel like it's gonna go over super well, you know?
No, they generally, unless you start, I don't know, basically telling them that Uruguay beat them in Maracanã, you should be fine because they like
Okay.
Uruguay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, all right,
they're not
good.
Philly fans. You should be all right.
That's cool. Where in Brazil?
Montevideo or something like that. I think it's like the northeast near the beach. So you remember I had an exchange student last year, and he was
Yes.
from Brazil. So going to visit his family.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Cool.
So I get to see him and everything. So it'll be fun.
Wow, awesome. I don't know if you've heard or if you kept up. I'm going in December to Punta Arenas with Jaren.
I did hear, yeah, I was on a stream or I was watching a stream that you were talking about it. That's very cool. Is it pretty cheap for you to get there? Are you driving or do you still have to fly? I think you still
I'm
fly,
flying.
right?
I'm flying.
Yeah.
If I buy my tickets around now, it's like $250.
Oh yeah, that's more reasonable.
Mm.
Yeah, it's so funny. I was house sitting for someone here in Dallas, and they said some offhand comment like, my family's from way down south or something, and I was like, oh, I wasn't sure what you meant. If you meant like Houston or Punta Arenas, and she was like, you know what Punta Arenas is? I'm like, well, yeah, because that's where she was from. She was like shocked, and I'm like, well. I didn't give the whole reason I knew was about flat Earth. That was a little too shameful to mention.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
I didn't want to admit that that's why I knew.
We have Goofy the Cat for $2 says, what did you think about the Dave thing? Who is Dave?
I missed that explanation if they covered it.
I don't know who that is.
I heard it was in 2 different super chats, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And James was trying to get it out of him, saying like, "Oh, I see that smirk. What does it mean?" But I didn't hear the actual explanation if there was one.
Yeah, Earthly Skeptic also doesn't know what the Dave thing is. So we gave our thoughts on Angelos openings. What did you think about that?
Yes,
Jay?
I had thoughts about Angelo's opening, and I felt like the argument. The first part of the argument was it looks flat,
Yeah.
like that's I agree. It looks flat. It looks flat. It looks flat. And we had to do a little research and now we know it's not flat. I agree. It looks designed. It absolutely looks super created and that evolution's not a thing. Unfortunately, the fact that it looks that way doesn't matter, right? The Earth doesn't look like we're hanging in space, like not connected to anything. That's like the initial intuition. So appealing to initial intuition is just the lowest level, right? Like, I mean, I just felt like he spent quite a bit of time on it too. I thought that was rough. You can't just appeal to initial intuition.
And another vertex of that argument is that if you're going to go with the whole intuition argument, then we should all be animists, basically believing in animal spirits, because that was the first intuition that people have. When people make that argument, they forget that these religions, they come much, much later after an evolution of animism, spiritism, like in general, and then we start organizing into the pantheons of gods, and then we go with monotheism and so on. So I find it very strange when they appeal to that sort of intuition as a way to basically prop up Christianity. But yeah, it was very underwhelming for an opening, really.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things. When you teach someone how to play a sport the first time, they do it incorrectly. And you have to teach them, like, I know this doesn't feel normal, but, we've tried this and this works better this way, right? Like, just saying your initial brush at this looks this way, it's just ridiculous. I mean, it took us a very long time to figure out gravity, right? Like, just understanding the mass attracting mass or whatever the definition is. Like, it's just not obvious that mass attracts mass. It's just not. It's not just like super clear,
And there are a lot of things in science that are counterintuitive. The one example that I like the most is, for example, you can make matter emit photons if you shoot them with a laser, and that cools things down. And in general, we would think if we shine a light on something, we're giving it energy. So it gets hotter, and that's the principle that they keep our French fries warm at McDonald's. They shine a very big lamp, keeps it warm in the on the side of the fryer, and it's counterintuitive to think that shining a light on something will make it colder, but that's how we're very close to getting to absolute zero with supercooling lasers. I actually met a guy that works in an Indian lab where they do that, and it's basically the opposite that one would naturally think or intuit. But yeah, very underwhelming for Angelo. Now, for Flying Spaghetti Auditor, the beginning of his opening, I was a little bit lost as to why he kind of brought up some of the atheist views on the Bible. I think it was a little bit of irrelevant to the topic, because we could still have all of the what we perceive as errors in the Bible, and creationism could still be true. So I some people I also noticed in the chat, like, wait, what the what is this? What? And then he got into starting to talk about the evidence, and that dramatically changed the scope of the opening. I think sticking to his 4 arguments was good. I prefer 3, but just my preference. But 3, 4 arguments to focus on and potentially discuss them all, I think is the sweet spot there for debate. And yeah, I generally agree with his opening. I think he did a little bit better than in the last debate that he had on evolution against Donnie. What do you think, Steel City?
Yeah, I was one of the people in the chat that was kind of confused when he first started, because I was like, what? He's doing the same thing the other guy just did. Why are they arguing for the other side? And then finally, once he brought up point number 1 with the I think it was T-Rex bones or something, or a fossil, and I was like, okay, finally, now we're getting to actual stuff to support his side. I was like, okay, I was getting worried there for a minute. But yeah, that's once he started on that, it got a little better. He had some jokes in there in his little presentation, and he actually had a presentation, which was nice. But once he got to that stuff, I thought it was okay. I didn't think anything crazy about it, good or bad, other than the very start. And I don't have anything to compare to because I didn't see his previous debate, but I thought it was okay. I don't know if it was because of his opposition, but he was like real monotone and just kind of like drug the whole thing down. And then I don't know. It seemed like the whole thing kind of dragged on, even on when Jed was talking, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, the monotone, I forgot to mention it, but it's a little bit of a problem across the whole debate. Dr. J.
Yeah, I would probably say I like this debate and that it wasn't a tire fire, but both of them weren't high level. And so the evolutionary presentation wasn't, compared to Gutsick Gibbon, compared to if Professor Dave had highly prepped something, it just wasn't really that good, right? Like, I can't do better. I'm going to be honest. I cannot do better. So I'm not suggesting you should have me do it. I'm just saying, as far as evolutionary debaters go, I just didn't feel like his depth of knowledge was super good, and that was in his presentation. Now, sometimes even if your depth of knowledge is good, your presentation can still be really good because you had a lot of time to prep it, And even in that, I thought he could have, done a little bit better job. But I did like he did have points. Those points probably weren't addressed. They weren't addressed with a lot of nuh-uhs. So he did have points. So he did fine. I sounded pretty negative there, but he'd had a presentation and he had main points that they could have theoretically addressed. So that was excellent.
All right. Earthly Skeptic for 199 says, what did the black hole say when it got full? No mass. Thank you for that. All right. It's time for everyone's favorite section. And that is the dumbest comment of the debate. So give me one. Oh my, there were some heavy hitters today. Heavy hitters. Here we go. All right. Of course, we start with
reigning
the
champ.
all-star winner, the reigning champ. I like my idea for evolution. 2 stones just decide to start making DNA. Oh, Matthew. What happens when you take a fish out of water and put him on the land? It drowns. Spoiler alert. And then you eat it. Bottom feeding fish at the bottom of the strata. Less dense means closer to the top. It's a result of the flood. Matthew,
What?
how do fish drown in a flood? How do fish die in a flood, Matthew? No. God made things similar. He was firing on all cylinders. Even plants are similar, but they were talking about structures of the hand that are kind of repeated across. Plants don't have bones, Matthew. Sorry. This guy just hates God. He doesn't think it exists. Very funny. Bubblegum gun. The evolution is starting with the precept that humans and chimps both have teeth because of some external germs infecting their ancestors in the past and passing on that germ infection as teeth scar. No idea what he meant, but okay. Evolution has been debunked. Well, all right, that's all we needed. Wrapping it up. We're gone.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. See you tomorrow, guys.
Atheists simply deny any claimed evidence of a creator and do their best to ignore it. The church did not oppose Galileo. That's a unified myth among the science community. Read God's Undertaker by John Lennox for a summary of this. Okay, I guess. It's not a bunch of different species evolving. It's the same creature at different stages of growth. That's logical.
I mean, like different stages of growth over long periods of time, many generations. But that's what they don't get. They think like if you have a kid, it should have like a bunch of changes already. How come we don't see that?
Yep. Why does Angelo look like he's standing against a jail lineup? And I thought that one was funny. That is one extra, and it does kind of look like that. I'm so sorry.
I was thinking like the side of a house, like siding on a house.
Can you admit we don't know what the flesh or fur of these animals look like? This is pure conjecture. But I've seen fossils where there's an imprint of the skin, so we can get an idea. But yeah,
there was something I saw a little while ago where they were saying, I don't know if it was raptors or what, but it was a smaller one that looked like it actually may have had feathers instead of like skin.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, okay.
There's the imprint on the outside where like you have the bones and the feathers left an imprint, and it's very clear. Yeah, I showed it on the last Aftershow. So according to evolutionary theory, did a wave wash a fish into shore a bunch of times and the fish decided to stay on the land? Wrong. They have found man and dinosaur together. The information has been suppressed and dismissed. Okay. We evolved, but stopped evolving since Homo sapiens, but we evolved. There's evidence of human evolution today. I cite 2 papers on that. The water nomads and the mountain pygmies in Tibet, I think they are.
I think I replied to his comment, and I think I told him, I was like, we're still doing it. It's an ongoing process. It hasn't stopped. It's just very, very slow.
Yeah, you could breathe underwater easy if you wanted. Oh, boy.
That was directed at me.
Yeah, I know. I saw that whole exchange, and it did seem Kevin Bacon is a flat earther. I think he's LARPing, actually. I think he's just powing. But he claims to be a flat earther, also evolution denier, and I think he was baffled in that conversation about fish breathing underwater. It seemed to me that he thinks that fish don't breathe, which is kind of weird. this exchange is golden. When they were talking about tectonic plates, I wrote this, and then Matthew Hakim, there is no plate tectonics, and he replied to my comment. Yes, my source is my debate with PhD Tony. Glad you remembered. So you making a claim is your own source. Very scientific. Love you, Matthew. You're the best. You're just the best.
Did you see what I said during that exchange?
No, I missed it.
I pretended like I was tagging tectonic plates. I put like at tectonic plates said that he debunked Matthew Hakim's pamphlet.
Yes. The funny thing is, Matthew lives in California. The ground shakes there all the time. Like, what is that, Matthew? Why? And I think this is the last one. So, I mean, I have to vote for my boy Matthew Hakim to get his 8th win in a row. So, still City?
Yeah, he gets my vote too.
Dr. J?
I have to agree. I mean, just the amount of quality is hard to argue with.
Oh, yeah. So that is...
That's the dumbest comment of the debate. You said it with a smile like it sounded so great. Round and round you talk, but you don't say straight. That's the dumbest comment of the debate.
Woo! Matthew, the only 8-time winner of the award of dumbest comment of the debate. He will keep on piling them. He will not stop until he gets 100. All right. So, open discussion. I saw a little bit of a tendency for Angelo to shotgun a bunch of points every time he got asked a simple question. Don't feel that. Don't appreciate that. It's like, just answer the question. They were very pointed questions. And yeah, that's but
something else.
Respectful.
Sorry, go ahead.
Respectful overall, and I think Jed, Flying Spaghetti Auditor, asked some of the good questions when it comes to this debate. It's just that we didn't really get answers, other than appealing to the Discovery Institute. And a whole lot of nah. That's my perception of how that went. Still City.
I mean, it was pretty much what we expected would happen whenever they had the open conversation. But yeah, you mentioned it that he would say like, oh, he wasn't sure about something, and the thing I didn't like though was whenever he would say, oh, I don't like that tribe they were talking about. He's like, oh, I don't know that particular tribe and this and that, so I don't really have much to say on it. And then he went on for 5 minutes with something to say on it. And I'm like, wait a minute. But he had to say that a bunch of times where he's like, oh, which I understand you don't know about it, so you have to look it up and come back like a week later or whatever. But then he would go on for minutes after that. And I'm like, I thought you didn't know anything about it.
For those of you who don't know, the Piraha, they are a tribe from Brazil, and before they got contacted by the missionaries, they didn't have a word or even a concept of God. Though, I think it's important to point out that they believe in some sort of animal spirits, because they are indigenous tribes of the jungle, right? So in the jungles of Brazil, jaguars and leopards, I think, are the dangers. So they do have some sort of animal spirits, but they didn't have a concept for the idea of this God. But yeah, he did try to talk about these people, which he didn't know, which was a little bit weird. I'll give you people a link here from Wikipedia.
Remember when you mentioned earlier about how the worship of like the animals and stuff came before the gods came and stuff?
Animism, yes.
Maybe that's the stage that they're at right now. Maybe they'll believe in gods later on down the line.
Well, I mean, they got into contact with missionaries So they did acquire the concept of God. It's just that they don't. They didn't have it when they were initially contacted.
Right.
And they are. I mean, it's a relatively small tribe. They are 900. But yeah, it's a very interesting case study for that type of argument. The only thing that I see is that, well, it's the one people that we can say, because they are so isolated that they never got into contact with the mainstream religions before they got contacted. So I don't know. I find it unconvincing as an argument. It's like, oh yeah, we can point to these people who never had a concept of God until they met the missionaries. I don't think it's a robust argument for us.
Yeah, it's not as big of a gotcha as you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, especially if the other person doesn't know about them, then it's like, oh, okay, never mind. Dr. J? Sorry, yeah. Go.
Okay, I saw someone mention Kent Hovind in chat, and I one quote that I didn't see that made me think of was someone, I forget their name, but they said the nose was designed for cocaine, Kent Hovind. And I was like, whoa. And I tagged them. I was like, did Kent really say this? And they never responded. So I don't know if that's a real Kent Hovind quote or not.
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
They were probably just pulling his leg, yes.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Earthly Skeptic did make a good argument about noses becoming blowholes, which is kind of interesting. Dr. J, thoughts on the open discussion?
Yeah, one, I mean, you pointed out some good things as well, but something I thought was you need to agree on the whole quote thing, because the guy would quote mine constantly, people he thinks are an idiot. It's like, you think Richard Dawkins is an idiot, yet you're quoting him. Like, do I get to quote him? Because if I quote him, you're going to say, oh, he's an idiot. But you get to quote him, possibly out of context, who has any idea, and somehow it means something. The quote mining of people from popular level sources, not when they're trying to be really, careful or whatever, is just absolutely, I think, toxic. And you can't quote mine like that. And if you're in a debate and the other person's quote mining, you have to be able to deal with it. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, what if you just had this debate where you pulled up a whole bunch of Christians and said, look, this Christian said this Christian said this, or whatever. I mean, the Christian's going to blow you off and say, well, they're not a true Christian. Do we just get to say, well, Darwin's not a true evolutionist? I mean, it's very frustrating, the quote mining, because they will quote people they completely don't disrespect. They would completely ignore if you quoted them something contradictory to their view. So what use is it, And if you're going to quote mine, you have to read the context. And obviously, many people have been quote mining where they were, taking it out of context. And so it's just not fair. You shouldn't quote mine. If you're going to do an academic paper and you're going to, have a longish quote that really shows it and whatnot, I realize we do it in academic writing, but we have footnotes. But the quote mining is horrible. And then he turned quote mining into all biologists agree with me. Yeah. And how he was able to turn a few quotes into everyone agrees with me, yet all my views are being oppressed. Somehow he had those together in his mind. But his views are both being oppressed by the mainstream, yet all the mainstream also agrees with him now. And they're finding that, that all of evolution is really wrong. Those were just incredible claims that so many people supposedly agreed with him, and contradictory to the reason people believe this is because of oppression. It's like, oppression, I thought you were like in the majority here. And sometimes they sneak in, it's becoming a thing. Listen, it's been becoming a thing since I was in high school, and it was never true then, and it's never true now. I've heard it my whole life. There's about ready to be a sea change, and there's never a sea change. It's the slow death of young earth creationism is kind of the reality. And so I don't know how you keep them from getting away with it. If you're arguing against creationists, you have to have prepared. It's like MC Toon. He knows every flat earth argument in the book upside down, left, rights. and forward, right? Almost to like, I can't believe he spent that much time on a degree. And that's very, very hard to do. And since the evolutionary guy wasn't like a super strong scientist or anything, he didn't like have a lot of scientific knowledge just at the tip of his tongue. He didn't also seem to be prepared for these arguments he could be prepared for without having to be quote mined. Like I said, I'm not sure I could do better. I don't know if I want to dedicate my life to these, getting ready for rhetorical tricks on quote mining or whatever. But anyway, the quote mining really stuck out to me this time.
It's a great thing to point out. How do you counter someone that is just shotgunning a bunch of quotes that we don't get like a proper citation for, we don't get any reference or anything like that, and then throughout the course of the debate, it's like, yeah, all biologists are starting to doubt evolution. It's like, I'm going to hold on, let me grab my controller. I'm going to press X to doubt, because that seems very far-fetched. And the one thing that I also noted was Angelo pointing out how science changes over time. And my comment there in the chat was, that's not a bug, that's a feature. Mm-hmm. But it's like, yeah, we get updated knowledge and we think, okay, this was a transitional fossil between A and C. And then we find new evidence and we see like, oh, no, this apparently was a family that got extinct, like a branch that died off. And it's not transitional between these two. And that's the great thing about science, how we update our knowledge base and we come up with better, more specific explanations to the new evidence that we find. But that's seen as, I don't know, somehow bad. Like I don't like this idea of, once you made a claim, or once you made up your mind about something, that you can never change that.
Like it's in cement.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, that's another way of saying science changes is science evolves. Like that's another way of saying it.
And it's quite rare that we have a change that overturns. Basically, we're not going to find out tomorrow through science that we were wrong about all of evolution. Because each step of the way is done exhaustively. We might get a refinement, and I'll give an analogy, the distance to the sun. We develop a calculation based off on rudimentary observations. And as we get better equipment, better technology, and so on, we refine that. And maybe when we first did a calculation, we overestimated and the distance reduces or it increases a little, and so on and so forth. And that's a good thing because we get better data. But I don't know why they see that as something bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Tay agreed with me on the point that the oldest spirituality is animism, and religions evolved from that. And I agree. I think that is, if you're going to make the argument that there is this innate tendency to believe, then the ball falls on that kind of animism, because it's the thing that first people had, like the drawings, the spirit, and we have some records of how those things came about. There are still some animistic ideas floating around. Daryl says evolution is so strong, even if life was found to change by some other mechanism, evolution would still be correct, true. And I was thinking, what would be the argument if we ever managed to actually create life in the lab, for example? Would we turn into gods? Because the religious view is that, oh, only God can create life. Well, if we create life, then are we now gods? Or what do you think the the creationists would say to that? Dr. J, you're probably more familiar than me with that.
Oh, I think creationists would do, you know, us theologians, we are really clever. So it would be some argument like, wow, look at what scientists were able to do in a lab. Notice we had a scientist, multiple scientists with PhDs that were bringing intelligence together throughout many centuries of study. And they had to work very hard to get just the right chemicals together and just perfectly and just the right temperature and just the right environment. And they got it all worked together and boom, they created life. You know what this demonstrates? There's an intelligence behind there's an intelligence behind it. This can't be done by random. Until you
dodge, yeah.
That's exactly what they would do. It would be proof that you have to have intelligence to create life, because by creating life, you used intelligence to create it.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, I would think that if that were the case, then scientists could do an experiment to replicate those conditions at random. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, I think that would be my follow-up. Like, oh, okay, you want to flex? Let's do it. Let's find it. But yeah, I think that's a great response to the idea. Oh. You didn't feature there, but we've gone through the dumbest comment of the debate section. You didn't feature today, but you've had some comments there. You still haven't won any. You need to try harder to win that prized trophy.
Matthew Keem's hard to beat. He is hard to beat, man. He has a lot of free time, is my understanding, and comes to a lot of these debates and just got a lot of practice. You know, it's just hard to compete.
Yeah. Oh, he thinks he can laugh at me. Isn't that adorable? What else?
Didn't we clone the sheep years ago?
I'm sorry?
Didn't we clone? Well, not we as in me and you, but science in general. Didn't they clone the I think her name was Molly, however many years ago? Dolly. Okay.
Yes.
And that was like a big uproar, and then didn't they like ban cloning or something? So that's why that kind of went away. So technically they created that, like that. So it did happen.
Yeah, but it's a little different than creating life from the building blocks. Oh, I know. One thing, when they started talking about the genetic code, I think Angelos really showed his misunderstanding of genetics when he said that genetic editing can only be subtractive, like it doesn't create new information. But I would like to point, Angelos, to the CRISPR technology for gene therapy, in which we literally add beneficial genes. So it's just I think he was very underprepared for this debate. I don't know much about him. I did see, hold on, I have his channel here. And I don't think this is what he regularly does. But I mean, I guess his channel is quite new, because he doesn't have many videos, and he has 18 videos and 43 subscribers. No info or anything like that. So I don't know. I don't think this is his topic. So the other argument that he made was the one we've heard so many times. It's like, oh yeah, Christians started science, which is it's a little bit true and a little bit of a misconception. And I think there is a reasonable explanation as to why that happened. Is that they were the people that could read and that had resources to actually study and carry out science. But I think that is just a little bit of a coincidence in the fact that, for example, the Muslims also had a golden age of Islam where they did a lot of science. And in general, when people in modern times, when people do science, religious people, they generally say that when you go into the lab, religion stays at the door. And when you put on your lab coat, you're acting as a scientist and not a religious person, which is pretty reasonable if you ask me, right?
Yeah, because it can really affect your results, your hypothesis. If you're taking religion into account, like for it could affect the things you set up. It could affect the results you get.
Oh, there. You're not morally superior. Dude, you're a flat earther. Like that, that just makes you inferior in every conceivable way.
But he's 100% morally superior to you and everyone in here.
Everyone else, yeah.
Hey, well, everyone might be morally superior to Max. He is the filthy atheist, so you know.
I am. Yes, a self-proclaimed.
Yes.
What else? I couldn't think of much. There wasn't really much ground covered. We've definitely heard.
So I have some thought. I have thoughts on the religion being the foundation of science or whatnot. I completely agree. There are religions that are probably not so good for scientific endeavors. Like, it would be hard to be a scientist within that religion. Meaning, like, if you tried to give people medicine and they said, you can't do that because our gods say only the priests can heal people and we know it's demons or something, right? Like, there could be religions that are bad. I don't know a lot about Islamic history, but my understanding is part of why there was a golden age and not as good a golden age was some changes in theology, is my understanding.
Yes.
Could be wrong about that, but I think that is a thing. So I agree some religions are better than the others, but that doesn't necessarily prove you have to have the Christian religion to do science, because Christians really want to say all scientists are atheists, right? But I thought you couldn't do science without Christianity. Which is it? Like, are they not real scientists? Only Isaac Newton was a real scientist. You know, I mean, It's just very, very super, lots of contradictions in there. Was Einstein a Christian at all? I can't remember.
No, he was culture, like he was ethnically Jewish, but he wasn't really a big believer.
It wasn't particular. So it's kind of like, you know, maybe the second greatest scientist of all time behind Isaac Newton, you know, wasn't a Christian. How did that happen? If you had to have Christian, you know, you just can't. These super broad claims that when you go to the details, they don't work. I mean, I do want to give Christianity some props that a lot of Christianity we have had has been better than some other religions, which wouldn't have been so good for scientific endeavors, which is why it is frustrating now that, you know, a particular strain of Christianity has so much political power right now that is, you know, so anti-science and just undermines it at every turn, right? They claim to love science, but they're also undermining it every turn. It's very weird. So that's frustrating, but, you know, props to Christianity and historical, because it didn't ruin it. You know, it did. I'm not saying you had to have it, but it certainly didn't ruin it.
But we did have, the Dark Ages is a little blemish on the past, but it kind of happened the same thing with the Golden Age of Islam. They were doing really good science, and then religion kind of put a stick in the wheel of the bike, and we fell over. But that being said, for example, there's the Taj Mahal, and one could say that was a pretty big advancement in the science of architecture. And there's a lot of science that came like before the Greek buildings, the Roman roads. There's a lot of hard science that came from non-Christians. It's just that the Christians were the ones to institutionalize, but there's an underlying thing there that they were the ones that could read or could, you know, when most of the people are peasants, struggling to survive, and you are a monk that has a couple of hours free each day and you can read, then you can start to ponder. When you're not fighting for survival, you can start to ponder some of the big questions, right? I think that's a fair explanation, and I don't see any potential rebuttal from a creationist to that framing. But it's something that they always say, and I find it kind of funny. We have. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I didn't click. Middle East was a big source of math and science. Yeah, we had Al-Biruni that figured out a way to measure the height of a mountain. We have the development of the algorithm, the development of zero, which was initially called Sifr in Arabic, and a bunch more. Like, there's contributions from all over the place to science. And
I didn't know that.
Yep. Science and tech. Well, the development of better ships for traversing the ocean and so on. There's so much that has happened. The Vikings, for example, the Vikings did very well in sailing, and they were no Christians, so they developed the technologies for making better boats and so on. But apparently it's everything. The same way that I laugh at when Muslims say that Jesus was a Muslim, and I get the Lego song, everything is Muslim. When Christians do that, I also get like, everything is Christian. And it's kind of funny like that. But kind of an unmemorable debate, to be fair. Yeah, sorry.
I was just going to say, I thought it was a good debate. It wasn't super memorable, but it was clear. It wasn't a tire fire. Some of these, who some of the debaters I don't enjoy too much. I have a hard time getting to the end. I had no problem. I could throw this in the background and listen to it, and I thought it was good. Probably not MDD's going to be high view count or anything like that, but I thought it was okay. But also, Max, you're saying it was kind of uneventful, meaning like, I think I've said what I have to say about it. I'm not sure I got a lot more. Yeah,
pretty much.
You know what I mean?
I do like both ends. A little bit of a dumpster fire, or a debate like this, but with a little bit more pep and more energy, a little bit more sass, or something like that. But that, my personality. Still City and anything else, because otherwise we can just do final thoughts, and we'll be on our way, because we have another debate tomorrow. Junior, one of the worst debaters ever, head to head with Nadir there. Tomorrow we have Christianity versus Islam, which is true, and it's Junior against
Junior.
Oh, he's so good. Isa's going to be happy about that one. Junior versus John Steele, Big John Steele.
That's weird. That's my first name.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, really. Oh, and then they put another more. Does God exist? That's Skydive Phil against Dr. Mikel. I guess it's pronounced like that. And then another evolution debate on the 28th, where Jim Bob and someone else. No, the names are not there yet, but we do have the after show scheduled for tomorrow. So let's do final thoughts. Let's start with you, Stu.
Okay. I just real quick, I wanted to mention though, when Dr. J was talking about Einstein earlier. So what you're telling me is that he was a closet creationist. Mm-hmm. Nobody knew about it.
Yes. If you didn't know that before, you know it now.
Shh, keep it secret. Right. I don't really have too much to say for closing. It was okay. Like I don't normally watch like the religious debates, but for some reason I was like, oh, I'll check this one out and then hang out in the after show, and something to do for tonight. But I wasn't too impressed with it. It was okay. I think it was worth the time. But I was more focused on the chat. I think I had more fun in the chat than I did with the actual debate.
Yes, it does happen sometimes. There was a lot of derp flying around in the chat. I try not to focus because I've had some times where I barely paid attention to the debate, and I, as the host of the after show, that's a bad look on me. So I had to, slap myself a little bit in the hand. So thank you so much for joining us on the after show. Still, Dr. J, final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not a barn burner, but not a dumpster fire. So I enjoyed that aspect of it. I'll try to join you tomorrow. I fly to Brazil tomorrow, so I don't know if I'll be sitting in the airport or on a plane or whatever. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, I enjoyed it. So yeah, good to see you guys, and hopefully we'll do some more.
Good to see you too. Have an awesome trip, and let me know exactly where you're going, so I get an idea.
Yeah.
Because
I will.
The name that you mentioned doesn't ring a bell at all.
I'm trying to remember. I've heard it said 100 times. Dan said it 1 billion times. I'll put it to you in text. I'll send you out on WhatsApp when I get it. So that way you can just Google it or whatever.
You got it.
Is it called Dave?
Monte, yeah.
We don't know what Montevideo.
The mythical place. Yeah, Montevideo. That's right. I always get it mixed up with the capital of Uruguay. It starts with an M as well. So yeah, I'm gonna have to send you a picture. I'll try to send you a picture with my Uruguay hat next to a Brazil something, just to show I'm repping.
Yeah, try. Be careful with that, but you shouldn't have a problem because there with Argentina, Uruguay, and Brazil, there's this triangle of classics when it comes to football, but we have a lot of respect and a lot of love for each other than when the ball rolls on the football pitch. But yeah, you shouldn't really. It's not like you're just going to get randomly shot because you're wearing the Uruguay jersey.
Yeah, you'll just get roughed up a little bit at most.
And you're not going to you're probably not going to the favela. That's where you might have some issues. But yeah, other than that, yes. So I think we've said everything. Thank you everyone over there. Thank Steel City and Dr. J for joining me for the after show. Tomorrow we have another debate with Junior. I'm pretty sure Isa will be here because Isa Junior became Isa's favorite debater ever. And I mean, he did make a giant leap to the top of the list of worst debaters ever when he called his wife in the middle of a debate to try and make a point. I mean, that was a bold strategy.
That was at the con, right?
Yes. I was here watching it live because I paid for the membership, and I lost my mind when he called his wife.
He's the white nationalist guy, is that right?
No, Junior is Muslim.
Oh, okay. No, I'm thinking a completely different guy.
He was making a point that Muslims do not mistreat women, and he called his wife in the middle of the debate, put her on speakerphone, and was like, "Hey, baby, do I mistreat you?" And the wife was like, "I'm in the middle of a debate." He's like, "No, well, I love you," blah, 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 and then hang up. I mean. Completely convinced. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Yeah. Debate one.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We'll catch you tomorrow. Before we go, make sure to do the social things like, share, subscribe. Send this to a friend. Send this to your significant other. Go to the corner. Yes, the corner of your street. And you'll subscribe to Yerba Mate Talks. And that way we can share the love for the channel. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Have a great night and an awesome weekend. Good trip. Have a safe flight. Dr. J, and we'll see you when you get back or if you're free during the trip. But I mean, being in Brazil with the sun and, that stuff. Are you traveling alone or?
No, Bethany. Yeah, Bethany's going with me. We'll be there.
Cool.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, you're going. No, never mind. I was going to say something very filthy.
There's that degenerate, immoral degenerate coming out again.
I mean, there is, but let me just say it like this. I think I can make it palatable for everyone. You will both have great delight on the eyes because the garotos and the garotas, they're very good looking people in Brazil. All right. Thank you, everyone.
I'll report back. See it.
Oh, no, you don't need to report back. I've been to Brazil a bunch of times. I know. Everyone, take care. Love you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.